News Now is brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. From the Pacific News Center in Hagåtña, Guam, here's Clint Ridgell and Janella Carrera with Betsy Brown and Roselle Romanes. PNC Sports with Blake Watson. And weather with Joanna O. With your news now.
Half a day, good evening, and thanks for tuning in to the Pacific News Center's News Now. We are broadcasting live in Saipan and in Guam. I'm Clint Ridgell.
And I'm Janella Carrera. Thanks for tuning in. Your top story tonight, a decomposing body was found this afternoon behind the Global Dry Cleaning Building in Harmon. Guam Police Department spokesman Officer AJ Balahaja says officers were dispatched to the area around 3:40 this afternoon where the body was located. At this point, Balahaja says there doesn't seem to be any foul play involved. Medical examiner Dr. Aurelio Espinola is expected to perform an autopsy to determine cause of death. Balahaja says it's too early to tell what the person's age was, gender, or ethnic background. However, he notes that the person may have died a few days ago.
Tropical storm Bavi is in the Marshall Islands, but National Weather Service forecasters say it is headed towards the Marianas. So how soon will it get here, and how strong will it be when it gets here? NWS forecaster Carl McElroy talks to PNC about the latest tracking models for tropical storm Bavi.
It's tropical storm Bavi, and it's a Vietnamese name. It was just named this morning by Japan, and then the Typhoon Warning Center put it on their warning.
Tropical storm Bavi is southwest of Kwajalein in the Marshall Islands, and it's headed west-northwest, which will take it to the Marianas in the next several days.
The latest warning has it coming into the Marianas on Monday or so, and it would be as a strong tropical storm or minimal typhoon.
Right now, winds are at 40 miles per hour, and they only expect winds to be at about 70 miles per hour when it reaches the Marianas, and the most recent track has it passing between Guam and Rota. However, it should be noted that it is way too early to know exactly where the storm will head and exactly how strong it will be. The storm is extremely far from Guam right now, and the tiniest changes in its track today or tomorrow amount for huge changes by the time it reaches our area on Monday.
It is so far away right now, around 1,600 miles, so a slight change in speed that far away could make quite a difference exactly when and where it would pass through the Marianas.
There are several factors that could prevent the storm from getting much stronger before it hits us.
And the factors would be slightly cooler water out here in the wintertime and stronger wind shear. Wind shear is just winds that are blowing over the top of the system that tend to blow the tops of the clouds off and keep pull some of the heat out of the center of the system and keep it from intensifying.
However, that being said, McElroy urges residents to prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
And again, although it's only expected to be a tropical storm by the time it reaches the Marianas, residents should always be prepared.
The Guam Education Board was all ears during a special meeting held yesterday for students who want to amend the policy that bans outside food from being served on campus. PNC's Roselle Romanes has more in this report.
High school students from Tizen High, George Washington, and John F. Kennedy went up against the Guam Education Board yesterday and spoke on the issue of banning outside food for their school's Gupa Chamorro celebration. Guam Education Board Chairman Peter Atta says the students brought up several options, including having the party after lunch break so it does not compete with the school's food vendor.
If they would allow that after that to the remainder of the day, it becomes a school activity, and that they would be allowed to barbecue. Okay, the second one was to cater the food to be brought in. And the third one was to have the kids do the barbecuing themselves.
Atta tells us that 5 out of the 6 board members present for the meeting supported the students, all but him. Atta stressed that for him, student safety comes first.
All it takes is one kid. to get sick. And then for us to get sued. And when we get sued, we can get sued as a board and as an individual. I'm not going to chance that. At any time you have a function that is sanctioned by the school becomes liable.
This prompted some of the school administrators to ask the question, if the board was to amend the policy, would that mean elementary and middle schools could also prepare, bring, or serve homemade food for their group tomorrow as well? Addis says a decision will be made next week Tuesday.
This coming Tuesday, the board will call a special session to address this specific topic. So because, it only gives us 2 weeks for the celebration of this tomorrow week.
Addis sends a message to the students.
From the very beginning, we said we are here for you. You take all the time you want. Express yourself. Don't ever feel that we shut you off.
Rosal Romanes, PNC News.
Well, it looks like the Teads High Titans will be able to host some games on their new campus for next school year, with the construction of a fully functional gymnasium on track to be completed in September. The Cortec International team gave the media an update yesterday. Project manager Jun Ganaan says there's been a lot of progress in just 2 months of construction, and they're now preparing the forms to build the 37-foot-high walls of the new gym. He says the 16,000 square foot gym will be equipped with locker rooms, shower rooms, offices, and about 9,000 square feet of space with a seating capacity of 800. The groundbreaking ceremony was held on the construction site back in January. According to the governor's office, the gym costs $14.4 million, and it is part of the lease-to-own purchase agreement for the Teads property.
And the Guam Community College is celebrating another clean audit for fiscal year 2014. This is GCC's 14th consecutive clean audit by independent auditors, Deloitte & Touche. In fact, the Office of the Public Auditor commended the institution's accomplishments, as it is the only GovGuam agency to maintain a low-risk status for that long. GCC President Dr. Mary Okada says maintaining the low-risk status has been a team effort, and that they are extremely careful with the procurement process and accountability guidelines. She says this clean audit proves that when GCC receives money, it does spend the money on its intended purpose. The audit report states that GCC closed fiscal year 2014 with a $3.5 million increase in net income and total expenses compared to the prior year. The audit also highlighted the fact that GCC continues to invest in modernizing its campus facilities.
You can see through our financial reports that the college has significantly invested in its capital plant. And you'll see the increase in the plant meaning the buildings and the facilities and the upgrades over the past several years. Since 2009, we've seen extensive growth in our campus, not only in terms of student enrollment, but also in terms of facility upgrades.
Okada says by the end of this fiscal year, she hopes to put 2 more construction projects out for bid. Those projects consist of renovating and expanding Building 100 and constructing a new DNA lab that will be shared with the Guam Police Department. Full details of the OPA audit of GCC for fiscal year 2014 are available at guamopa.org.
Tony Blas went up for confirmation today as DOA director. Numerous people came out and testified in strong support of his appointment. However, senators would grill Blas over GovGuam's financial condition and tax refunds.
Tony has proven to be a true public servant. The years that I've had the experience of working with him, and more importantly as a senator, some of you, I think one of you up there served with us in the legislature, no, 2 of you, know that Tony's heart is for the people of Guam.
Tony is extremely bright, he's extremely dynamic. In spite of challenges that he's faced with, I think he's overcome many of them.
He goes out of his way to make things happen. And he's a people person, and he's a good leader, and he shows that by being helpful with the people of Chico.
Tony Blas himself testified today, promising lawmakers that he would do his best as DOA director.
the Department of Administration oversees the financial and human resources of 30 line agencies that employ more than 5,000 Guameños. From cutting payroll checks and providing health and life insurance for our employees, to cutting checks for tax refunds for our people.
It is the tax refunds that drew a lot of heated discussion, as lawmakers would question Blas about the state of GovGuam's finances and about the slow payout of tax refunds compared to last year, and the balance in the tax refund trust fund account that should be higher based on GovGuam's collections.
I want to give you the assurance that we're pay tax refunds as the governor has directed all of us. We will continue to pay tax refunds and pay it in a timely manner.
And how much is currently in the trust account today?
The trust account, I don't have the balance in front of me, but I'll get the balance.
Lawmakers also questioned Blas about his salary, as they say it is higher than they thought it would be. Blas explained that it fell within the Competitive Wage Act pay scale for his position.
All right, well, stay tuned. We have more news now after the break.